we gotta lose. You sick of paying debts, we sick of paying dues. You know the one who that we belong to. So get your hands off our land, please, won't you? I'm living in the city, I'm living in the A. And this is for my people who struggle every day. It's simple mathematics, we learn in first grade. What do these numbers make? It's time to get paid. It's time to break chains. It's time to make a change. Better get your money, brother, and get up out the game. No one can hold me, no one can fold me. I only play this game how my people show me.
Life is what we make it. Yeah. Life is what we make it. Ooh, yeah. Life is what we make it. Yeah. Life is what.
Welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show. 1979. Yeah. So, if you're from that era, you remember this song, one of the top Billboard songs in 1979, Good Times by Chic. Okay, but also what happened in 1979, the same damn year, this song happened. Straight biting. Oh, they straight ripped this shit. Y'all hear it? Y'all hear it?
To the hip hop, the hip it to the hip hop, you don't stop the rockin' to the bang bang boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
Here is not a test. I'm rapping to the beat, and me, the groove, and my friends are gonna try to move your feet. See?
Y'all hear it, right?
But I brought two friends along.
Welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show. We mixed it as best we could. So, 1979 was pretty much the year that it all started. And it all started, man. I mean, hip-hop probably had started a couple years earlier than that from what the way the story went. when we talked about this a while back on the show. But Rapper's Delight, man, Sugar Hill Gang was that track. Now, we may not have heard it in my hometown till 1981. But Sugar Hill Gang's Rapper's Delight came out in 1979. Cheek's Good Times, I think it actually came out in 78, but it didn't hit the Billboard like top 10 until sometime in 1979. So not only were cats jacking beats, at the very beginning of hip-hop, that's what hip-hop is, but they didn't wait a couple of years like it's customary now where a song becomes a classic, a track becomes a classic, and then a rapper goes back and takes it many, many years later. No. Within 3 months, they jacked the whole damn song. Yeah. Shouts out to the great Chic, with Good Times, and shouts out to the great Sugar Hill Gang, man. Rest in peace, Big Bad Hank. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, 404-382-0338. You can also email me at Doug@theDougStewartShow.com. So, once again, the NBA trade deadline is today at 3 p.m. Eastern time. I think a couple of these things are going to happen, man. So, let's kind of run across the top, like, rumors or whatever. And we'll jump in the chat room and get some of your thoughts on whatever we've talked about already today. Throwback year, 1979. We'll talk some football. I read a lot of chat today as well. And do what we do here on the Doug Stewart Show. But I already talked about the possible trade for Paul George. Lakers been talking to them. Also, the Boston Celtics have been mentioned as a possible destination for Paul George. We'll keep our eyes on that. Another thing that we mentioned a couple of days ago was the Wolves, the Minnesota Timberwolves, possibly trading Ricky Rubio. Like, I think Rubio is definitely gone based on everything that I've read. He's definitely gone. They're trying to move him. But will it be for Derrick Rose? Derrick Rose, solidly having a pretty good year for the New York Knicks, but the Knicks are a freaking train wreck. So, I mean, they need to cut bait too. So word on the street is that the Bulls or the Timberwolves are looking to try to make a deal for Rubio somewhere, and possibly in like a swap and, contracts and money with the Knicks for Derrick Rose. So we'll keep our eyes on that one. I think that one may happen. If I had to go thumbs up, thumbs down, and thumb to the side, I'd say thumbs up. Definitely up on Ricky Rubio being moved. As far as to New York for Derrick Rose, sounds like all parties are interested. The Knicks obviously need to do something, and they don't need to take on all of that money that they paid Derrick Rose when they brought him over this summer. So, yeah, I think that might happen. Also, I mentioned Paul George possibly to the Boston Celtics and how the Celtics have all these different assets that they can trade and make deals with, man. So the other guy that's being talked about is possibly the Bulls trading Jimmy Butler to the Boston Celtics. I think this might happen too. Not necessarily Jimmy Butler, but I think Boston's going to pick up Butler or Paul George. I think one of those two guys will probably end up in Boston Green, because Boston right now, man, they feel like that they're kind of recovered from the Big Three era, where they're playing good enough basketball right now where they can be viable and they can contend, especially in the Eastern Conference. Not that they're going to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, but right now Boston's only 2 games behind the Cleveland Cavaliers as far as record. Your boy Isaiah Thomas, the second, the faux Isaiah Thomas, the young Isaiah Thomas, is playing like an MVP candidate. Not going to win the MVP, but he's playing great right now. Celtics 37-20 right now. Once again, 3 games behind the Cavaliers, who got a whole 25-plus games to play in the second half. I think they're going to make a deal. And it's going to be Butler, based on everything I'm reading. It's going to be Butler or it's going to be Paul George. We'll see if the Pacers allow that to happen. The other talk that we've had for the last couple of weeks, months probably, is Carmelo Anthony leaving New York City. I'd say thumb to the side on this, okay? I don't think he's going to the Cavaliers. Mentioned that, talked about that a lot over the last couple of weeks. Don't think he's going to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think it's a good fit. I and it's a way to shake up the Los Angeles Clippers. Like, I think if it happens, it might happen in Los Angeles. That kind of makes sense. They need to try and do something different out there. You know, the definition of insanity is doing something the same way, expecting a different outcome. So why not? Why not make a deal, try to bring in Carmelo Anthony, a scorer, one of the best scoring players in basketball for many, many years? Possible. I don't see Boston. That just doesn't seem, I guess it could be, but I think Boston's building for the long term more so. And Paul George, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, Paul George or Jimmy Butler seem like a fit for the mentality of Danny Ainge and trying to, get young guys. Like, I don't see Ainge and the Boston Celtics making that much of an effort for a long-in-the-tooth Carmelo Anthony. Maybe wrong, we'll see. But if I had to bet, I would think that it'd probably end up in Los Angeles with the Clippers. And how about this, man? Andre Drummond from the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons probably are going to make a deal for Andre Drummond. Word on the street is that he's been a hot topic of a discussion for a lot of teams in the NBA. Right now, the Pistons are at the 8th spot, 2 games ahead of the Milwaukee Bucks. And so for some reason, maybe it's just a chemistry issue or whatever. Maybe they feel like they have somebody that they can come in and pay less money to that can give them just as much output as Andre Drummond has for them in Detroit. Time will tell. We'll see. But there's been a lot of conversation about him being on the move as well. We'll keep our eyes on that. And the last one that I've heard a lot of talk about is Jahlil Okafor being on the move. Like, it's pretty much the way it reads that Jahlil Okafor is definitely going to be traded. They got that log jam at center there at Philadelphia, where obviously they got Joel Embiid and they got the Noel kid. It seems like they like them and their production more than they like Jahlil Okafor. Really a disappointment. In my mind, Jahlil Okafor, this is a guy that when they came out in the draft that I would rather have than Karl Anthony Towns when they came out the same year. But kind of, blasey blah. Really hadn't made the impact of this early in his career. He's got a lot of time left to do big things. And if he goes to a team, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, or an organization where he's going to be featured more and given the keys to the car, more so than what he has in Philadelphia, maybe he can turn things around. But right now, somewhat of a disappointment in his early career. But, yeah, very good chance that he's going to be moved today. There was some talk about him going down to New Orleans when clearly New Orleans was trying to make a deal to bring in another big man to play alongside Anthony Davis. That didn't happen, obviously. But it looks like Jahlil Okafor will be moved. I mentioned how the Atlanta Hawks, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. If you haven't paid attention, if you don't live in Atlanta, and even if you do live in Atlanta, you may not have even known, if you don't pick up the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. But the Hawks made a deal last night, man. They acquired Ersan Ilyasova from the 76ers in exchange for Tiago Splitter on Wednesday. The Hawks will also send 2 2017 second-round picks to the 76ers, their own, and one they own from the Miami Heat. The Hawks will get the 76ers 2017 second-round pick they hold from the Warriors. They wanted to add offense that comes coming out of the All-Star break and 26 in the league in efficiency. Ilyasova is a 6'10 forward, averaging 14.3 points, 4.6 boards, and 1.7 assists in 26.9 minutes in 56 games this year for the Philadelphia 76ers. So he's played in the NBA for 9 years, including stints with the Bucks, the Pistons, and the Magic, averaging 11 points and 6 boards as well. I mean, I really don't know a lot about this kid.